My girlfriend got her eggs frozen last year, which was my idea. I told her instead of getting serious, we should defy God's will. And I went with her to the consultation, and the doctor, he showed us this laundry list of injections she would need to get. And I care about her. I said, are there any side effects, all these shots? And he said, worst case scenario, it's like PMS times 10. And I was like, I didn't know that was a unit of measurement too. I said, why, doc, why? And he said, well, because once a day she's gonna need to get a full injection of estrogen. Which, if you don't know, that's like dating a werewolf and injecting the moon. And then, you know, there's more shots to make the eggs bigger, and you got to time it with the cycles, and you know, there's a surgery. I had no idea how many scientific miracles it took for a woman to have a career. And we got the eggs. I want you to know that we got a bunch of eggs, and I was so relieved until I read about that fucking judge in Alabama who ruled that embryos are now considered people. And I know eggs and embryos aren't the same thing, but you see the way our country's going. We're like 2 rulings away from my girlfriend becoming a mother of 19. Republicans always act like they're helping families, but think about that. 19 kids growing up without a father. I think the more you zoom in on the pro-life philosophy, the more insane it is. This judge is basically saying if any might come, gets on those eggs, they automatically become fully fledged human beings. I can't come on someone until I stop seeing them as a human being. I had a roommate once, someone I met like on Craigslist, did not know him, a younger guy, and one night I came home, and I assumed he was on drugs because first he was on the couch, he was slumped over. This was 1 a.m. I came from a comedy show, slumped over like this. I thought maybe he was drunk, he drank sometimes, but then he like, his eyes open, he was like, oh. And I was like, good evening to you too. I freaked out. I mean, truly, it was like that. And I was like, are you okay? And he was like, that was one of the few times in my life that I called 911. I called 911. I said, I think my roommate's on some kind of drugs. He's making weird noises. And please, you know, send over an ambulance. And instead, New York City, who do they send over? NYPD. NYPD came over, and it was 2 officers. They came in. One kind of started talking to him, and then the other took me aside and said, you know, why did you call? And I had to be like, when I walked in, he was like, and then he's like, okay, let me talk. And so he gets on his like walkie-talkie or whatever. Suddenly, 3 more NYPD officers come over. And they come in and they're like, okay, what's going on here? And I'm like, okay, everyone gather around one more time. And then they radioed, and I swear to God, by the end of this thing, there were 12 NYPD officers that I had recreated these sounds for. And it was like a game of telephone. I got worse at it every single time. By the end, it was like, bah! And I guess what I'm trying to say is that's why I'm voting for Zoran. Because the other 2 candidates, their solution to that problem would have been more NYPD officers. I'd like to start tonight with a poem. First they came for Colbert, and I did not speak out, because I never did a late night set on Colbert. Then they came for Kimmel, and I did not speak out, because a couple years ago, Kimmel stopped doing late night sets on his show. Then they came for Fallon, and I did not speak out because I did Fallon last week. Then they came for Seth Meyers, and there was no one left to book me. Guys, we are all going to need to make room in our hearts for our friends and family who, for some reason, were only radicalized by Jimmy Kimmel getting cancer. I know it's confusing.
I don't know why it took this long, but we need the numbers right now. It's hard for me too, because I don't think Jimmy Kimmel is very funny. I wish Trump went after Seth Meyers first. You can tell the Republicans, they don't care about Charlie Kirk. They didn't follow his work. I looked at some of the videos. I looked at the YouTube for Turning Point and Charlie Kirk. Here's some of the titles for his videos. College queer is all talk, no facts. Charlie Kirk wrecks deluded pro-trans long-haired hippie. Charlie Kirk demolishes pro-trans non-binary feminist. I think Charlie Kirk's the only person who's done more crowd work with queer people than me.
What's the Supreme Court justice that they caught him getting the vacations? Clarence Thomas. He was getting all these donations from some billionaire. Harlan Crow. Yeah, of course, bow tie guy. And they found at one of Harlan Crow's many mansions, he had one room that was filled with Nazi memorabilia. And let me just say this, and I say this as a Jew. I'm okay with one Nazi memorabilia. Have you ever seen a Hitler dollar? They're fascinating. Honest, they're like our money, but obviously with a different white supremacist. And what I enjoy about the joke is it works in England, it works in Australia, it works in Canada. But I also, at the same time, I don't think it's fair to say that if you have Nazi memorabilia, that means you inherently are a Nazi. And let me just hear me out for 1 second. Bill Cosby. And I know, just wait a second. Bill Cosby, not a lot of people know this, but when he turned 77 years old, he filmed a special for Netflix called 77. And basically Netflix, they dropped it. They did not release the special 77. Now, I'm not saying I have a copy of 77 on my computer. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if I did, it wouldn't mean that I'm a predator or that I condone Bill Cosby. It's just I'm a comedian, and I admire the craft, and there's a fascination. So I'll ever just say, in the same way, these people that have Nazi memorabilia, it doesn't mean they are a Nazi. It just means they're a fan of Hitler's work.
Thank you to our MC, Gianmarco Soresi.
I'll be honest, I'm a little flustered. Backstage, I met Zoran for the first time in person. And this might be somewhat ageist for me to say. It's just so nice to support a politician that's too young to have been friends with Jeffrey Epstein. I am a Jewish millennial, and I know we're a tough bunch for Zoran to win because most of our moms think we should be mayor. But I'm not just Jewish, I am also Italian. And let me tell you, if Zoran's got the Italian Jews, Cuomo is in trouble. It's been scary watching Trump take such an authoritarian turn. We've seen ICE agents indiscriminately rounding up undocumented immigrants. We've seen Trump go after his political enemies. We've seen Trump go after free speech, late night hosts. It's very scary for me as a comedian because I haven't been on Kimmel yet. And right now we need someone who's going to stand strong. We all know Cuomo will kiss the ring. He kisses everything. Guys, we are just 3 weeks away from Election Day. And I haven't felt this confidence the Democrat is going to win since 2016. And that's why we got to keep going out there. We got to get everyone engaged, informed, and ready to get to the polls on November 4th. That's why I'm here, because I'm nervous, guys. I could be making a lot more money in Saudi Arabia right now, but I'm here with you tonight because we got a job to do. I have progressive views, but that doesn't mean I'm a good person. Liberals make that mistake sometimes. I have a more conservative friend, and he has views that really, he's one of those guys, and we all know those guys, who's like, you see this article? No, a trans woman played volleyball, made a little girl explode. And I can't stand that shit because the kind of guys that complain about trans women playing women's sports are the same kind of guys that told guys like me in high school, you run like a girl, you throw like a girl, and now they're mad because some of us followed through. But I will say, in his defense, he is a wonderful human being, better than I could ever imagine being. I'll tell you a story. Once me and my conservative friend, we were walking down the street in New York City. In front of us was walking a woman in very high heels. As far as I could tell, she was trans. Now, at some point, this woman, she tripped on her right heel. She fell into the street right as a bus was approaching. And my conservative friend ran into the street, scooped her up just in the nick of time, helped her on her feet, sent her about her way, and then he turned to me and was like, that's why men shouldn't wear heels. It was a lot of things all at once. And I want to be clear, I think it's a shitty thing to do. But if I had been alone, I would have been like, oh no, she